Good afternoon. I'm LaShonda Sell, and I wanted to drop in and leave this quick video welcome and introduction to get us started. I know class doesn't officially start for another week, but if you're like me, sometimes you're chomping at the bit to get started, especially if it's a class that you're like really excited about. I know you guys just love pharmacology, and I'm hoping some of you do. I'm really saying that kind of tongue in cheek, but um, we're going to learn a lot this summer. A lot of it's going to be just refreshing. There, you may be into certain musculoskeletal drugs, but you don't use reproductive drugs as much. So you'll refresh your memory on some of the content that is in there. Our textbook is just a wide vast amount of knowledge about a lot of different things. So I did not include all of the concepts, all of the topics, or otherwise we would be here 2 summers or more. We'd be finishing up in summer of 2019. So don't feel cheated if there are topics in there that you want to know more about that we didn't cover in the class. You've got your textbook resources, and you can always go back and cover other units that you need now or in the future at some time during your career. If you run into something, use your pharmacology textbook to refresh your memory on things. Even in the units that we cover, like cardiovascular drugs, I've broken that and respiratory down into 2 weeks to cover it because last summer I realized we just couldn't even scratch the surface in 1 week on those big units. But even with that, there are some things like we might cover a certain class or two of cardiovascular drugs, but not all of them. So there's still going to be things within those units that we just can't quite cover. But with all that said, we're going to cover a lot, and you're going to be processing a lot and testing on a lot that you haven't been using. So give yourself time to really explore and dive deep into this course. It's set up a little different. So it's not going to be your typical, you sit and listen to a lecture for an hour and you'll get all the knowledge you need for the test. Graduate level is about us exploring and trying to figure out what we don't know and what we don't know well. So the modules you do in Shadow Health should give you some insight into how well you know a certain topic. I've designed this course because you have to pay for Shadow Health. I really want to use it. So every learning lab they offer, every case study they offer, you guys are going to do. And you're going to do it for grade, for credit, so that it's part of your grade and you really get some credit for the work that you're doing in Shadow Health. I, as an adult learner, value things that are interactive versus just reading through a textbook. So you're going to spend more of your time on those case studies and in the different Shadow Health tools than you will in just reading the textbook and doing weekly quizzes and things like we did last semester. I think tests are anxiety provoking, and life is too short to have a lot of anxiety building up all the time. But with that said, you will have a midterm and a final. I just kind of couldn't pull this course off without you having two big tests. More than likely, they're going to be take-home tests to help you dive deep into a couple topics. And I'll let you know, I'll try to narrow it down into something that we have not covered in Shadow Health. So your Shadow Health case studies are hypertension, asthma, diabetes, the biggies. But there are going to be some things like Parkinson's or thyroid disease that are not addressed in Shadow Health. Those are the things that you'll be tested on for your midterm and final. So just use the same honor code that you would with an in-class test or a real-time test, that you do the work on your own. You'll learn so much more by just kind of combing through and finding the answers yourself. I opened up the course so that you can see the syllabus, see how the grades are distributed, see kind of judge where you'll spend the most of your time. And as you learn, there is an Ask the Instructor forum, and I'm training myself to check that forum first before I check emails. The problem with emails is that I'll get 3 or 4 of you guys email me the same question, and and there may be 4 more who have the same question, but just either haven't thought to ask or waiting to try to figure it out themselves. So that's why I like the Ask the Instructor forum, because you can post a question there and I'll reply there so that everyone gets the benefit of the answer. Now, with that said, it's the summer and I'll be all over the place this summer. I'm sure you guys are going to be doing some travel or vacation or definitely working, and we'll be doing all of that. So you won't get the within 2 or 4 hours kind of response that you may need sometimes. So if you have an emergency and you need a response within a couple hours, email that to me. And especially about personal things. If you got a personal question about something, about deadlines, about assignments, email that to me and I will try to get back to you within 24 hours. If something takes longer, it's because I'm probably researching the answer. I don't always have a quick response to the questions that you have. And what I found as an educator is that, and as a mom, is that if I fire off a response, I'm usually going to regret it later. So if I'm slow to respond, it's because I'm thinking about it. I'm going to give you a good response. I'm going to give you a response that makes sense, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of the logistics of conversation with me. I really prefer, looks like I froze. I really prefer, hopefully you can still hear me. If you want to talk one-on-one, like office hours kind of talk, that we do that via Zoom. I like to see faces and understand. So much gets lost in an email, especially those emails you fire off when you're frustrated and you can't figure out something, or something just doesn't seem right and just and fair in the world. Those emails just do very little for communication and team building and awareness and all the things that matter to me. So if you've got a really significant issue with something, I'd almost rather we just set a time to talk and figure it out by Zoom, by video chat. One other thing, we have I know you guys are familiar with this by now, the Journal Club, the Open Mic Journal Club, scheduled for one of those last 2 or 3 weeks of the semester. I really want to see you all there. So I've posted a date and a time. But if you'll create a forum, a post in the Ask the Instructor forum, saying this time of day just does not work for me. I think I scheduled it for like a Monday or Tuesday night at 7:00. But if you guys are working 12-hour shifts and that evening slot doesn't work, but a lunchtime slot would, or I can be flexible, but I kind of want to know that earlier than later. So one, I can plan it around my days where I'm available live versus via email. And we can all kind of plan it together. So my hope is that you'll be there. We're going to talk about pharmacogenetics and have that discussion together as a group, and just trying to understand and make sense of it and the implications of it and what it means to us in practice. You may or may not be doing a lot with that right now. I'm practicing in geropsych, and there's been a lot of conversation in the company about pharmacogenetics, personalized medicine for psych. So there always needs to be that ethics conversation and cost and accessibility and ethical considerations as far as like how people receive the information and what they'll do with it, how they process that information. So I think that'll be a fun discussion. We did that last year, and I kind of want to stay on this same topic because I don't think it gets talked about enough. So that's it for now. I'm not going to overwhelm you with a lot of stuff. If you have trouble getting into Shadow Health, you should see instructions in the syllabus on troubleshooting, calling their help desk. I want to emphasize that piece because I'm not an IT person. So if you call me and say, hey, that this is that and that's lining up that way, I'm probably not going to know how to fix it. That's just not my thing. As you learn, I can troubleshoot with you a lot, but the technology for Shadow Health is not my forte. So if you want a quicker response and if you want a more efficient response, call them first for IT issues. And then, especially in the beginning, post any tech issues you have with Shadow Health in a forum, because if you're having problems with it, probably everybody else is too. So we can knock that out together as a group. And I think that's it. More about me. I'm kind of a laid back, easygoing person. It takes a lot to get me excited. I've survived 2 floods here in Boone just this year, and I feel like, life is life and life goes on. And if I'm not floating in the flood, then life is good. So I kind of feel that way about classes and coursework and technology. My mission here, my intention this summer is for you guys to feel even more competent in pharmacology and feel comfortable teaching that to new grads, to undergrads, to students in different types of curricula. Just so that, and part of that process of feeling comfortable teaching it is feeling comfortable researching and figuring out how you learn it best and how to process it and share it with others. So that's part of the reason why I have the course designed the way it is. The other reason is because it's an asynchronous course. So, I can't really hold you hostage every Monday at 10 a.m. to do a lecture. And my experience of listening to recorded lectures just hasn't been a good one. You may feel differently, so we can always talk about that as the semester goes along. I'm also very flexible, so if you find that something's not working for you or you need something else, do share that with me. I want to learn too, and I want to be, I want to hone my craft and do a better job of what I'm doing. So if I'm not delivering something in a way that works for you, let me know so I can work on improving that too. Quality improvement is part of my life. And I'll give you guys feedback as well. So that's it for now. Expect another video next week talking more specifically about the content that we're covering that week. Still not a lecture, but kind of like an overview and maybe like what assignments are due. Actually, that may not be a video. That's probably going to be an email because I want you guys to be able to kind of jump in and out and see that. In videos, you need to sit still long enough to see and appreciate. But my goal is to pop in every so often with videos so that we can stay live and as interactive as possible. So, hope you're enjoying your day, and I look forward to kicking off this summer next week. Bye.